The ups and the downs in the forecast here continue as we roll through the month of May, which again, in these spring months, it's very typical to ride these roller coasters that are a bit more active, especially when it comes down to precipitation, which is what we need. We need some precipitation in these soils. Now, temperature wise here, you can see that pull up of those temperatures we were seeing through Monday to then drop under those showery conditions we had Tuesday, Wednesday, but into our Thursday as we have returned to that sunshine, temperatures are back into the 70s, and for our Friday, we are looking at even heading into the 80s. If we were to get into the upper 80s, could have some records, but we're going to settle into the lower 80s. And with this warmth that's pushing in, note that we are pairing it up with some windy weather, and that is going to bring the conversation of some fire weather concerns. Now, as we'll have some windy conditions, still should be a pretty pleasant day, but Saturday definitely going to be a bit more tranquil, especially with light wind conditions, keeping that sunshine and keeping some seasonable temperatures. And we will want to take advantage, as what we will watch for is in our next round of some active weather will trigger Sunday and could keep us active through much of next week. But the active concern that we have for our Friday is the wind. Now, sunshine is around, temperatures warming into the 80s. All looks good until you look at those winds. That west-southwesterly wind will see some quick increases, bringing gusts well into the 30s to 40s as we step from the mid-morning into the early afternoon, and then getting some over 45-mile-per-hour gusts throughout the afternoon will need to be monitored, as we're noting that definitely our wind-prone areas will see some of the strongest winds. We see Big Piney, Rock Springs, Rawlins, Casper, Douglas even there with that southwesterly flow pushing in. But we note that Cowboy statewide, everyone is looking at the potential of at least some 25 to 40-mile-per-hour gusts. So windy day, and that pairing up with warm temperatures, dry air. The dew points are very low, as well as dry soils. There are some abnormally dry to moderate drought conditions, especially for east of the divide here, pushing up across that South Dakota-Nebraska border. So these are areas that already have some drought-stricken soils, and then if a fire is started, it could spread very quickly in these types of conditions. So do stay wary again of that threat. Please prevent any burning. Saturday should be a much better day if you have to do any brush burning, if you are going to be getting out. So we'll see lots of sunshine there in place. You're noting there's a little bit of some thunderstorm activity there for our more northerly communities. What we are noting is that what's bringing those strong winds is actually a cold front that's just going to clip the northern portion of the state. Might usher in a few thunderstorms, but what we're seeing is that with those very dry dew points, a lot of these storms won't be able to bring longevity. They'll pop up and push off, but that could still bring a lightning threat, which could start some fire weather. So again, we'll have to stay wary. If you do see a fire, please report. We will also note that we have some quiet conditions for Saturday, much more enjoyable. A little pullback from Friday there, but still pleasant. Sunday starts off with sunshine, but then by the end of the day, we will be triggering that active weather pattern that takes us into much of next week.